it.
Welcome to MCFC 9320 PUBcast. You know something? Looking at that, because there's no stand, it actually looks as if it's set up like that tonight. No, I've not had time to prep the new intro yet, so I just thought I'd put something on rather than the old stuff. How are we both?
Good.
Good. Yeah, don't look like Stan's joining us again tonight. He's, I think we might have to transfer list him.
He's going to be heartbroken when he finds out Walker's going.
Yeah.
He's going to be heartbroken when he finds out Walker's gone.
Is there any news on Kyle Walker? Is he signing for AC Milan?
No, he's officially gone to Burnley. £5 million.
We will get into that in a bit. Good evening to everybody in the chat. Good to see you for our Sunday night giggles. We'll speak. Let's kick off with the tragedy. What's happened actually? Over Diogo Jota and his brother. What a sad. I know these people who are not famous and stuff like that who die all the time and stuff, but it's in the public domain and it more than anything else. What a sad. It actually
28 years old. I mean, he had his whole life ahead of him.
It's just absolutely horrific. It is, and something. It just shows you
wife and children.
Fame and fortune means nothing. When your time's up, your time's up. God bless him. Yeah. Let's get into Kyle Walker. I'm a little bit gutted, obviously. I think the time was up. But I would like him to be remembered for what he contributed to us. Anne-Marie, you can go first on this.
And I think he will be, Andy. I think, his first game back at the Etihad playing for Burnley, I'm sure he'll get a fantastic reception. I don't think he's helped himself over the last few months with some of the comments he's made. But that doesn't deflect from the fact what he's helped us achieve. So I think, you have to respect him for that. Mm-hmm. What he did on the pitch was fantastic for us. If you take away the off the field stuff.
No, let's remember him for his on the field stuff.
That's what I'm saying. So I think he'll get a good reception when he comes back to us. But his time was up. It was that simple.
Yeah, Paddy. Have you seen his farewell message to us Blues? I think it was very, very respectful. It just, he has said a few stupid things and stuff like that, of late. But I think he was very, very genuine and sincere in his message to us. And he's been a phenomenal player for us. In my opinion, the best right back the Premier League's ever seen.
Yeah, and I would second that. I definitely do think he's the best right back the Premier League has ever seen. I think people need to learn to separate the on the field stuff to the off the field stuff. What he does off the field stuff is an inconvenience for us fans. Not really. Doesn't put me up or down. I'm more interested in what he does when he crossed the line, and you couldn't argue.
Depends what you mean. Depends what you mean about cross the line, but that's another story.
Well, he kept his shorts on.
No, I do think that the time was right, but what a great play for us, and even in his farewell message to us, he's some of the things what he reeled off, what we've achieved, and it's not that we forgot what we've achieved, but it makes you realise that not just what Kyle's done, but that group of players have done over the past God knows how many years, as groups of not individuals, but as a team, because we know it's not an individual game. What the journey what they must have gone through behind the scenes as well. Like getting up for all these big games. Getting over the line in things like the Champions League final. The Centurions, the 4 in a row. The list goes on and on and on. And I don't think we would have been that successful with an average right back.
Well, I think the proof's in the pudding now that he's gone. Yes, Nunes does a fantastic job, but as I said before in previous podcasts, Nunes is like a handyman. Yeah, he can fulfill the role, but is he expert at it? No. The same as Husmanov or the Kanji or anybody else you want to put out there, they're handymen. They're playing out of position, and people need to realise that. And the onus is on the team to employ a right back and stop expecting people to play out of position, because all they seem to do is get pelters off fans. Rico Lewis, the list goes on. Like, no, they don't understand these guys are playing. Nico O'Reilly, young kid through the EDS, playing left back. His position's a midfielder.
The thing is, though, Paddy, it's these players won't get pelters next season because we're going to absolutely smash the league anyway. So we'll be winning more games and the players will be playing better. So we're going to smash it, mate. We're going to smash it.
Well, I didn't actually see the last match where we lost 4-3, but I read the reports on the Man City site, and I read some of the comments from people who I would I respect, and it seems like Pep played ridiculous tactics again.
No, he didn't. I don't agree, mate. I watched it, and the guys in the chat, who watched it, I just thought it was a very, very good match. I thought first half we should have been out of sight, absolutely out of sight. Their keeper made a lot of very, very good saves. When I say pin the blame on Ederson for 2 of the goals, it is what it is. But we've not got a divine right to win at all. And one of the questions I want to do ask everybody is are you really bothered that we're out of it? Yeah, it'd be nice to win it, but then guys have got extra couple of weeks now to rest up and be ready for, is it the 16th of August, our first game?
Yeah.
So do you think did you watch the match, Anne-Marie?
I watched it back the next day, I have to be honest.
Did we lose again?
Yeah, we lost again.
Wow.
But again, yeah, Ederson was at fault for a couple of the goals. There's no doubt in that. But it is a bit of last season in that we were going all out. If you looked at where our defence was for the majority of the game, it was over the halfway line in their half. So we were an easy target to get caught out on. So it does question whether we've learned anything. And I think the fellow we've brought in for set pieces has got a fair bit of work to do as well.
I think we've looked all right set pieces. If I'm being totally honest, Anne-Marie.
No, not just from us, not from our point of view from taking them.
Oh, right, yeah.
Our
sorry.
point from defending them, because if you looked at the goal that won the game, Ederson was just glued to his line when I think he could have actually come for the ball. I
agree.
So it's those things that we've still got to work on. Ederson really does have to command that box, and I am not convinced he does. But
did he ever, Emery? Did he ever command his box?
No, that's what I'm saying. But I think he needs to.
The question you need to ask yourself, and I did ask myself this actually, is I can't remember a keeper, or don't know of a keeper, probably is the right thing to say, who is brilliant with the feet as well as brilliant at shot stopping. They're either one or the other. So as a fan, what would our preference be? A good shot stopper or somebody who can distribute, well with the feet.
Well, but you say that, and you look at the first goal that we conceded, Andy, and where did it come from?
No, I get that. What I'm saying, what would your preference be? A good shot stopper, or somebody who's good with the feet? No, to be fair, Ederson normally is impeccable with his feet. He's always going to have the odd clanger in him because of the way we play. We just have to accept that. More often than not, you've only got to look at his Premier League assists for a goalkeeper. So we know his distribution's brilliant. We know sometimes his shot stopping's not great, but I agree he doesn't command his box. But I also agree that our set piece coach has got a little bit of work to do defensively, because I think offensively the ideas are totally different. I think we look really, really good. The corners have got more purpose now as well. The way Bernardo's whipping them in. So I think we've
got to be more cutthroat though in our attempts.
Okay, cutthroat in our attempts. Let's look at the Club World Cup then. We won a 2-0. We won a 6-0?
No, but Andy, I'm just saying, for the number of chances that we're creating, we're not putting enough away. Still, that was a huge problem last season as well.
I get you, but like I've just said, in those 4 games, I'll use those 4 games, a 2-0, a 6-0, there's 8 goals. Then we won a 5-2, and then we scored 3 against Al Hilal. So I agree to a certain extent. I think if we tighten the defence up and we score 3 goals against somebody, chances are we're going to win. If we score 6 or 5 against somebody, chances are we're going to win. So it's just that defence. And I think once the defence settles down, Pep will know his first choice when, come the start of the season, I think. Do you agree, Paddy?
Yeah, just going back to your point about the goalkeeper. And I think it's a problem. I'm going to sound like a dinosaur now, but anyway. I don't care if he's like Pelly with his feet. His job is to keep the ball in the net, and he's not very good at it. And he's never had been very good at it. He pulls out the exceptional stage every so often, but you want somebody who's doing that 99 times out of 100. His role as a goalkeeper is to keep the goal. It's not to be spraying passes and assists and all this crack. Yeah, it looks great, fantastic. But if you're conceding goals which you shouldn't be conceding, well, you're not doing your job. And it's not just Ederson I'm having to go at. Right? It's a modern day problem where
mate.
Right backs are not right backs anymore. Left backs are not left backs anymore. Centre backs, they all have to be the fucking Pelly now. They have to invert. They have to do this. They have to do that. Well, how about just stripping it back to the basics, do your job, and anything after that then is a bonus.
Are you living in the primitive ages still?
I'm probably am. But when I hear a goalkeeper always scrape his feet, I don't really give a monkeys. I want you to save the ball. That's what you're getting paid for. I don't care how good you are with your feet. If you can't keep the ball in the fucking net, you're not too much use to me.
But in a team game where the defence is supposed to help him?
It's not a team game when you're in nets.
And it's like on the opposite end of the pitch, you've got a striker in it, his colleague's job to assist him or her, whatever the case may be.
Yeah. But again, you'll get it's the 2 areas of the pitch where there's not much leeway, there's not much forgiveness. Either you're in the minute as a striker or you're conceding goals as a goalkeeper. You make a mistake as a defender, chances are it might need to go. Midfielders making mistakes, chances are it might need to go. Make a mistake as a goalkeeper, it's a goal. Make a mistake as a striker, you miss.
So aren't you on an hiding to nothing then, being a goalkeeper?
Yeah. But the clue's in the name. Goalkeeper. Not good with feet. Goalkeeper. Well, we've changed out the name now, goalkeeper, to Maradona in nets, or Pelé in nets, or Zico in nets, or It drives me nuts when I hear him say, "Oh, he's doing this and he's assisting, he's that assist." That's great, but what about what's going on behind him? Not great with his feet there, is he? Because he can't fucking move them.
Paddy, have you had grumpy pills?
No, I think it's too hot.
Mm-hmm. Oh, we've got a nice surprise later on in the show as well. We've got a great surprise. Yeah, who was it? Who's put somebody's put JSK's put. You know, it might be the unknown, but I think it's time. You know, high time look for a new keeper. You know, you're not on your own there, buddy. What we'll say is I've seen it quite a bit, but I'm not going to start getting hysterical about how Ederson is or isn't performing, or should Ortega, replace him, or should the new keeper who's come in from Chelsea replace him, or should we go looking for a new keeper? Because I don't think anybody, Anne-Marie, would have even mentioned Ederson's mistakes if we'd have gone on to beat LLL.
I'm not sure, Andy, because it's becoming more of a habit now than it has been in the past. But, it's not just, we're not just pointing the finger at Ederson. I do point the finger at Pep a little bit, as to why did he pick Gundogan again? We've got Nico Gonzalez sat on the bench, not even getting a game. And we're on about rotating the squad. And really, we're not rotating the squad. And we've got a perfectly good player there that's not being given a chance. And we're putting in an old man who doesn't have any pace.
Paddy didn't play.
He'd have done a better job.
Thank you, Anne-Marie.
I think you've been a bit unfair and disrespectful for Gundo there. I get, because people are crying out for Nico Gonzalez to play. However, we don't know the ins and outs of it. How do you know he might have an injury? Pep doesn't have to say he's got an injury. Pep doesn't have to tell everybody the ins and outs of a cow's ass, does he?
No, but he's on the bench to play.
So it doesn't matter, does it? No, I think there's a lot of hysteria. How do you know Nico Gonzalez won't start the season?
No, but what I'm saying is, if you just look at that game, if we'd have put him back on, if we'd have put him on instead of Rodri, we could have avoided Rodri getting possibly another injury.
I know, but if my auntie had bollocks, it'd be my uncle. We don't know that, do we? We don't actually know that, do we? Rodri's picked up some sort of injury. Now, probably the sensible thing, and listen, players predominantly who have been out for a long time pick up some sort of other injury.
I know, but he played 60 minutes in the previous game.
Well,
over 60 minutes in the previous game. So why risk him?
On that note, Anne-Marie, Pep wanted to bring him off at half-time, and Rodri says, no, I'm okay, I'm playing on. And he brought him off at 60 minutes then. But that was Rodri, that was down to Rodri, that's why he played 60 minutes. That wasn't down to Pep.
I agree, Paddy. And I know the players should not dictate to the manager how long, but surely the manager must have some trust in his players. If his players are coming back from injury and say, listen, boss, I'm all right for another 10, 15 minutes. If I was a manager, I'd say no problem, play another 10, 15 minutes. Just because he's picked up an injury, it's like people are blaming Pep for playing him and not playing Gonzalez, and I just find that crazy. It is what it is. It's what happens if we play Nico Gonzalez and he's not having the best of games, and people say, "Oh well, we've got Rodri on the bench. He's fully fit now."
But you know what I think it is, Andy, and I myself are guilty of this. We all have a different picture in our head about what that best starting 11 is, and we want to see the new guys in. even towards the end of last season, we wanted Hushinov to be playing more and stuff like that. So we're all guilty of having this image in our head what our best 11 is to start the match, and then when it doesn't happen, and Pep puts in Gundogan and Silva and KDB at the end of last season, when we all wanted the kind of the new guys in, it doesn't work. It's not going to work because at the end of the day, Pep makes the decision. Pep is winning 24/7. He has all the data, the physical data, and whatever system he wants to play, well, that's going to dictate what team he plays, you know. So I understand what I'm really saying, like, no, about Gundogan and stuff like that, because we all have this preconceived notion that we want our starting 11 to start. Like my starting 11, well, you probably say, oh, I don't want him, and I want this, and I want that.
Go on then. Give me what your starting 11 would be then.
At the right now from the squad now?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it would have to be Ederson, and then the Atonori, left back.
So okay, let's dissect it from stuff you've already said, right? I would go with Ederson as well. You know, out of the current crop what we've got, but if it wasn't, so you wouldn't try Ortega over him because you've just been slaughtering Ederson.
No, and I'll tell you that's why this is the current squad, because when Ederson was out injured, Ortega came in, had a fabulous 2 or 3 games, and then fell to pieces, and we were glad Ederson came back. So out of the 3 keepers that are available, my choice would be Ederson. But if I had a choice outside of the team, it wouldn't be Ederson.
Who's your choice for keeper out of what we've got now?
Ederson's
I think I'd agree with Ederson.
Okay, so we're happy with Ederson then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As well as available.
Right back.
You see, I think you should go out and buy a right back.
No. The question was what we've got now.
Right. Well, Hushinov for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'd go Nunes.
Right.
Left back.
Atonori.
Atonori.
I think we all agree with that one, and he's going to be special for us this season. He really is.
Oh yeah.
Who are your main 2 centre backs going to be?
Guardiola and Diaz.
Yeah.
I'd go with that. See, so we're not a million miles with what we've just, you know.
That was the easy part, Andy.
Yeah, defensively. Well, why not? Because I think it's a little bit harsh on Aki as well, if I'm being honest.
Oh, absolutely. But now you're getting into the world what Pep operates in.
Mm-hmm. And that's why I'm trying to bring some sense to it, because you are absolutely right. We've all got our favourites who we think should be playing, right? So we're more or less there on the defence for us. I'd say I'll tell you what my starting midfield would be, and you can agree, disagree. On the left side, at this moment in time, I would have to say Doku.
Yeah,
I really, really would. I'm not a huge Doku fan, but credit where it's due for the lad. I think he's out of the Club World Cup. I think he's been one of the shining lights. You've obviously got to have Rodri. Mm-hmm. Would you agree on that?
Yeah.
I'd say in there with him, with Rodri. See, now this is where it does get tough. Okay, let's go for on the right side then. The right side, I think that is a position what's up for grabs. The right side. Now you can either put Foden there. At this moment in time, I would probably put Phil in there because I'd be putting Yannick Reinders in with Rodri. Yeah. I think he's been another success story in the Club World Cup. So it's not been a waste of time, the Club World Cup, by the way. We've sort of like got an early pre-season, a rest, and another little mini pre-season before we come back. So it's not a bad thing. So Reinders, for me, Reinders would be in there. Now, I would put Phil out wide on the right because I think he just gives us a little bit more, you know, coming in. Would I put Bernardo in there? Probably. Probably not, you know, as a starter. So then it gets to the nitty-gritty, doesn't it? Would you put Marmoush in there?
I play a 4-4-1-1. And I go in the midfield you picked. Doku, Rodri, Reinders, Foden, Mamouche, Holland.
Right. So would you pretty much go with that, Anne-Marie?
I'm not sure, because I thought if you looked at Cherky when he came on, I thought he had a big impact on the game. I thought he did really well.
And that's fair enough. So who would you have in that midfield?
I think, to be honest, I think the midfield's right. But I'm just not sure about Mamouche and Haaland together.
Okay. So would you say the midfield's all right?
Yeah.
So how come you both just been moaning you want Gonzalez in there? None of you have picked him.
I wasn't moaning about Gonzalez.
And what I was saying was I would have picked him ahead of Gundogan.
Yeah, but none of us have picked Gundogan.
No, I know. But last year you made the excuse that Gundogan wasn't expected to play the number of games that he's played.
What an excuse?
Yeah, which I accept. But now we're in a position where we don't need to play him because we've got other players that can play there, and we're still picking him.
But like I just said, none of us have picked Gundogan. But you both just had a bit of a gripe over, Nico Gonzalez should have been playing ahead of Gundogan.
I didn't have a gripe over Gonzalez. I didn't say anything.
You watched the show a little bit back, and that's why I deliberately led you both into that question, because nobody has just picked Nico Gonzalez, but we've just been having a bit of a gripe that he should have played ahead of Gundogan. So
that was Anne-Marie.
But you and Anne-Marie are one of the same, are you? But seriously, and you're absolutely right, Paddy. These are the things what Pep is paying.
Well, I'll tell you better still, right? And I kind of didn't think this through. I picked that team to go out and win without respecting the opposition. But if it was, say, the likes of the Rags or Liverpool or Arsenal, I wouldn't have Reinders in that midfield. It'd be Gonzalez and beside Rodri.
You can't listen. You can't backtrack. I've just asked you for your starting midfielders, and you've both just absolutely contradicted yourselves. But rightly so, and that's not a criticism, by the way. When I say it, just shows you subconsciously you wouldn't have Gonzalez in there. You'd have the midfield. What?
No, because the question was the best starting 11, didn't you? So. By rights, Rodri is the best midfielder we've got.
But where do you fit Gonzalez in it then?
No, but that's not the question, Andy. You asked us to pick our best starting 11.
See, I think, Andy, we have a world of talent. Like the defence and the forward line and the goalkeeper picks itself. It becomes problematic for us, and even more so for Pep, picking that midfield, because the team we've always picked, we've left the Gundogan out. We've left Matteo out. We've left Cherky out.
Bernardo out. Bob. Savio.
Like,
that's what I'm saying. So forget the blip of the Club World Cup where we went out against Al Hilal. What I'm saying is, come the start of the season, we will be out of them blocks, and it'll be discussions like this what'll either make us justified or make us look completely stupid, including myself. I'm not saying that I know what I'm saying most of the time. It's just the same as you, what are offering an opinion, but I just find it a little bit of a smile like nobody put Nico Gonzalez in there.
I know, but Andy, again, it comes back to the question you asked. You asked us to pick our best starting 11. And as of this moment in time, what we've said so far is our best starting 11.
But I think we were getting confused, Andy, is the reason why Gonzalez was mentioned by Anne-Marie was she'd rather see Gonzalez rather than Gundogan. That's what she was saying. Without picking her best 11.
See, let us know in the chat what your opinions are. And by the way, Anne-Marie, I've had about 15, 20 messages in the past week asking where people can pick your OnlyFans account up from. I have, honestly. People have been asking where can we get Anne-Marie's OnlyFans account. So anybody who wants Anne-Marie's OnlyFans account, here's the details.
Tit.
Don't be showing that in our show. Keep that to your OnlyFans account.
So there you go. You thought it was going to be something vulgar then, Anne-Marie, didn't you?
No.
You did. Led you into that one nicely, didn't it?
You're an absolute knob.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I'm an absolute knob. Just chat away a sec. I've just got to do something.
Do you know
That's never a good sign.
I know, yeah. He's on his burner account now.
No, it's all right. I'm all right now.
Do you know what I think is the silence is deafening is the club's treatment of Jack Grealish. Nobody cares.
It's such a weird one with Jack, isn't it?
Nobody cares. And if Jack Grealish had to put in a transfer request, he would be this, he'd be that, he's a scab, he's a turncoat, he's blah, 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 blah. But it's all right when the club does it.
You know something? You're absolutely right there, Paddy. It's this. Nobody's talking about Jack anymore, are they?
He paints a very lonely picture on Instagram when he puts them posts up on his own, training on his own, trying his hardest, and he's just cast aside by the club, and nobody gives a toss.
And it's interesting, none of us had him in our starting 11 either.
Yeah.
And I love Jack Grealish. I just think he's a super human being. I really do. It's all I want for Jack Grealish is just more than anything is just for him to be okay as a person before his football, because I do. I know we spoke about it a few times on the show, but I do worry for Jack. I just think he needs somebody to look after him. I really do.
I say Jack Grealish's best bet is to get away from English media and go abroad.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be worse for him now on his own abroad?
Not necessarily. Like he'd do well in Italy or Spain.
Yeah, I just wish him all the best, whatever he does, because and let's not forget that the contribution what Jack's had as well. With the success what we've had, because again I always cite it, that treble winning season. The second half of that season, I thought he was our best player.
No, Andy, like you actually sound like Pep. Pep always refers back to that triple winning season, but like we've had several seasons since, and he never comments on them. So it's just like Jack was good up until then, and he hasn't been good since. Pep says the same thing, the very same thing, and I keep saying, Pep, why do you keep doing that? Why don't you just say he's a great player, he's this, he's that? Pep keeps saying the treble woman season. That was seasons ago, eh?
So I'm just laughing at these comments there about Perry Suckling.
We could be picking Simon Tracy.
I'd be picking Dick Tracy ahead of him. Bloody hell. So yeah, it's a weird one with Jack, but so you think he'd be better suited going abroad? I don't. I think he'd need somebody over here. See, I'd say going back to Villa, his home, but I don't think they can afford him.
No, I don't think they can. And I think, because obviously if you look this week, both Chelsea and Villa have been fined by UEFA. So, well, is it cheating?
Yeah, they broke the rules. It's cheating.
I think there's bigger issues in the game than what Chelsea and Villa have done.
Oh, I actually think
I agree.
the rules that they brought in, the safeguard, the red cartel, is the same rules that's going to bring the league down. I think the league is a product. The product is getting undervalued and undermined. Aston Villa, Chelsea selling their female team to themselves, basically. Chelsea selling hotels to themselves, basically, to meet PSR.
That's got to be corrupt.
Arsenal's owners putting in 200-300 million of loans, interest-free loans, that are not counted for PSR reasons. The rules they brought in are coming home to roost, and I'm no financial expert.
You're not even a football expert, mate, to be fair.
I know that. I thought you wouldn't notice.
No, but you just, we're looking at a game where you've got the money, you've earned the money, and yet you cannot go out and spend the money because of these stupid rules. And that's got to be against fairness in the game. Whereas you've got clubs, and we're going to use United as the example because it's a prime example, that have got over £1 billion worth of debt and are still going out and spending £62.5 million on a player. They've got, 5 players returned back for pre-season training this week, and were told to do one to go and find themselves another club.
But Anne-Marie, but to be fair, the thing about United,
Manchester United.
Yeah, you're right.
What do you think? What do you think the red cartel wanted the Super League so badly?
I think the Club World Cup is the biggest indicator that there will be a Super League.
Yeah.
Well, this whole competition is a complete farce.
Yeah, it's a make-you-up competition.
Why is it a farce? Come on,
because it's a money-making scheme for FIFA. You've got.
We've not done bad out of it though, have we? What about 50 million?
No, but it's not even that, Andy. Look at some of the clubs that were involved in it. They're not even up to our championship standard. So how on earth did they get to play in this competition?
Whoa, sweet cheeks. Al Hilal apparently is.
I'm not on about Al Hilal.
No, you're not on about what? Have you been drinking?
Al Hilal.
No, so this is and to be fair to Al Hilal, they played really, really good against us. It's all right us saying we played shit. We should have did.
No, I'm not meaning them because they are the champions of their league, aren't they? But what I'm saying is there were certain teams in there in the initial group stage that were never good enough to be anywhere near that competition. So
it should just be the champions of that country.
Well, I think there's an element of that. I think you look at Chelsea. Chelsea only got into it because they won the Champions League in 2021.
All right. Are we happy that we're in the Champions League next season and we're not in it as champions?
Well, United won a treble on that. So, yeah.
No, I'm just saying it's the mindset in it. I think there's been some really, really good matches. I must admit, I've not watched anything since City went out because I've lost interest in it now. I'm not asked about it. However, there's been some really, really good teams in there, what you wouldn't have even had down. And again, Al Hilal they drew with Real Madrid. You know, they've scored quite a few goals. And
I know, but Andy, go back and look at one of the very first games. I can't remember who Munich were playing, but they beat them 10-0.
Yeah,
what were they doing in the competition?
But would we be saying that if they beat Bayern Munich 1-0?
It's a bloody miracle.
it's only highlighting it more because of the hammering what they got. Now, if it had been a close, now would we have been saying the same with Halal if Real Madrid had beaten 8-9-0? Would have gone, oh, they shouldn't have been in there.
No, Andy, that we're saying that they are the champions of their league. That's not the issue. The issue is some of these other clubs that were in there. Botafogo or somebody, I think it was, should never have been in there.
I think you need cream for something like that.
But it's just that, and it's just purely, why did they need to increase that competition? Why did they need to put it at the end of a busy season?
Mm-hmm.
Money, Anne-Marie, money.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying, Paddy. It's a complete money-making racket. And with a bit of luck, it's going to backfire on them because they haven't had the crowds.
Nick saying there, Twitter's reporting Gundo to Galatasaray. It's been rumoured that for a few weeks. Personally, I hope he stays and moves into the coaching role. While we're on the subject of Nick, this is Nick's starting. Ederson, Antnora, Diaz, Gvardiol, Nunes, Nico G, Reinders, Chirkit, Foden, Marmoush and Haaland. So
he's gone full Keegan. He's gone full Keegan. Where's Rodri?
Don't know now. I don't know whether Nick's basing that on sort of like fitness and stuff like that, or if he prefers Nico G in there. But listen, there's no right or wrong, and that's what I'm saying about Pep. Whatever he picks, if it's how many
There's
times,
always somebody not going to be happy with the team he picks.
How many times have we seen even in our Facebook group and even on social media, before the match starts, City announced the starting lineup, and people have gone, "Oh my God, why has Pep not done this? Why has Pep not done that?" And we've gone out and we've battered teams with the starting 11.
All I want in midfield on these leagues, that's all. I want people who can run, and I'm afraid Gondo doesn't fit into that category. Different if you're picking a team that's going to sit back and 10 behind the ball, and he's going to have time, and all they're going to do is have a bit of transition or counter-attack, then you can play him. But when you're up against it and you're trading blow for blow with, say, the top 6 teams, I don't want Gundo in that midfield, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But you didn't pick him anyway, so it doesn't matter, mate, does it? So here's one for you, what Blue Art's saying. This is going to sound crazy, but I actually think Nunes is now a City-made player. He's got what we bought him to become. Bizarrely, Blue Art, I had this conversation with a good mate of mine who's a Wolves fan, and he's actually said now he's settling in, Nunes, he will have the versatility to be able to play even further forward as sort of like not a winger, but a right-sided midfielder. Because I always class a winger somebody who goes past people and, you know, like a Sané or a Sterling. I think he's starting to show why we bought him a little bit, and I think people need to give him a little bit of a. What are you laughing at?
Why we bought him? We fucking bought him for the midfield, you madman.
How do you know? Hang on, where did we play Fabian Delph?
What did Pep say? He doesn't have the intelligence to play midfield, so we put him back to the back.
All right, then. Let me ask you a question then, Mr. Paddy. Right? You want Uzbekembauer at right back?
Yes.
He's a centre-back. Why do you want to play him at right back?
Because he's a defender.
No, you're talking bubbles now, mate. So
he's not a defender.
So before we bought Aït-Nouri, you wanted Nico O'Reilly left back. He's a midfielder.
I did not want Nico O'Reilly at left back. How dare you? Huh?
Okay,
I
then.
wanted Guardiola or Aki.
What, left back?
Yeah.
But they're centre backs.
But they're defenders.
It doesn't matter. It does not matter. See, so Stick that one in your pipe and smoke it.
Defenders read the game differently. Midfielders read the game.
I tell you what, you look like him, but this fella knows more about football than you.
You just loved Nunes from day one. You won't have a word said against him. You've always been that. Even when he was linked with us. Oh, Nunes this and Nunes that.
Hang on a minute.
Wet dreams over Nunes, do you?
Hang on a minute. This is refreshing, isn't it? Somebody who actually backs the players what play for us, rather than just having to slaughter them.
Yeah. 4 letters. DOKU.
I'm glad it's them letters.
Well put, Paddy.
Don't even go there, Andrew.
But hang on.
No, hanging on.
Credit where it's due. I actually had Doku in my starting 11.
Yeah, but Andy, in honesty, you have never really, until recently, you've not rated Doku.
But I back him when he's playing for us.
Yeah, but you have not rated him, have you?
What do you call him? A speedboat with no driver?
And it has been, it seems like, no, that's Elliot's fault. Elliot, if you're on it, it's your fault.
Don't be blaming Elliot.
But Anne-Marie, pot, kettle and black, you not backing players. And you having to go at somebody else.
No, I'm not. I'm just kind of pointing out the fact that you're not innocent in all of this.
Yeah, exactly, Andrew.
That's all I'm doing.
You're talking bubbles.
Nunes is great in his feet. Nunes can't keep it going. Fucking.
I'm just talking facts here.
Nunes is great at throw-ins.
But Paddy. Paddy.
Hey, I'm fresh air, not armchair.
Fresh air, not armchair. To be fair, you've actually attended more matches than Anne-Marie last season.
Well,
so fair play to you.
She only started coming when I moved to the Colin Bell.
I'm saying nothing, mate. I'm saying nothing. Right, so Staffy Dave, midfield of Rodri, Gonzalez, Reinders and Foden. That's some midfield, isn't it? That is some midfield. Nick's gone. He picked Nico G ahead of Rodri, allow him to settle back in. No, that's fair enough. That's fair enough. But what happens when every one of them are fully fit? I don't think people will put Nico G ahead of Rodri.
That's a no-brainer.
Mm-hmm. And that is the dilemma Pep has week in, week out. And
yeah,
Pep's already said he tries to keep everybody happy. And we will see some outgoings.
Well, I don't think Grealish is going to be the only one.
No, I don't.
I think there could be 1 or 2 others.
I'm going to make a bold prediction. If we get a right back in, we'll see Beckenbauer go out on loan. We will also see, in my humble opinion, Nico Gonzalez go out on loan. Is your screen froze there, Anne-Marie? Or have you had a stroke?
No, I think if we buy a right back, I think we're more likely to see a Kanji go.
You've just left Husanov out the door because we bought a right back, and you're going to let Mr. Sicknote Stone stay, and you're going to let Aki Sicknote stay, and you're going to let Akanji stay over Husanov. Have you been drinking?
Who, me?
Yeah, you.
No, I'm not 7 Up, mate.
I know it says 7 Up in the can, but what's inside it?
But right. So do you think
the penny's starting to drop now, isn't it?
No. Pep's already said, and John Stones has already said, he is staying next season.
For what? To keep the physios busy?
No, but I'm only going off what those two individuals have said. So if Stone says he's staying, if Pep says he's staying, that means John Stones isn't going. So therefore, the squad is too big, what Pep has said, and he will have to let people go, either be it on loan or even on a permanent deal. So that...
I hope he's not letting Hussenhoff go on the strength that John Stones is going to be entering the field of play.
So are you trying to say that you know more than Pep?
I'll tell you what I do know. John Stones will be getting these marching orders.
But you're not Pep.
I know that.
Gordon wants to know, Anne-Marie, I'll let you answer this one. Do you think Kyle Walker's going to be leaving?
Gordon, I think he might well be.
I can see him staying, you know. Ask Stan.
No, I think I can see him playing for a team in claret and blue. That's my prediction.
Can't see him go to Villa or West Ham.
No, but it's another Premiership team that plays in claret and blue. That's my prediction, Gordon.
Won't be after next season. Yeah, and you know, this guy's not been mentioned a lot. Cover.
He can do a job. I keep him in reserve.
But I tend to agree with Nick there. I think so. Then, Kovacic, I agree with you. I thought Cover was pretty decent second half of last season, along with Nunes. However, he's at a certain age now where he'll be thinking, am I going to get much game time? Or if an offer comes in, I'll go and play regular somewhere, because he will be holding back Nico Gonzalez, potentially Nico O'Reilly.
The only reason why I want him there, Andy, right, is you don't want too much of a brain drain going in that midfield. So you want the likes of Silva and Gundo and Matteo around and Rodri. They teach the young guys what it's actually like to play for Man City, what it actually means.
Mm-hmm.
So doing a hatchet job on experience is probably not the best approach in my book.
But if we're going to be letting some of the players what we spoke about, with the squad what we will be left with, without a doubt, we've got the best squad in the Premier League.
Yeah,
we've got strength in depth anywhere. People are being too negative on the Al Hilal result. We won't resemble anything like that going into the Premier League season.
I don't give a monkeys about Al Hilal or the World Club or whatever they call itself. I only care about what's going to happen on the 16th of August onwards. And I think the most comforting thing for me this facing into this season is we have an abundance of strength and depth, and it's going back to what Stan says, we have a lot of keys for a lot of locks.
Yeah, but Pep doesn't want all them keys and locks, mate.
I know that, but I'll talk to him tomorrow night when we're having dinner, and I'll tell him what we've been talking about tonight.
Because it can be said, almost every one of them players in that squad deserves to be playing. And
that's a sign of a healthy squad. Yes, you can be friends, whatever, but at the end of the day, I want to play. And if that means I have to ride you bareback, that's what I'm going to do.
Mm-hmm.
To get on that pitch. And that's what you want within the team. You want that healthy competition.
What Kathy says there is regarding Jack, that wouldn't be a bad shout as well, because you'd have Vincent Kompany there as well who would look after him. And you've got you've got the other clown there, and but at least it's sort of, and so we're in Musiala out as well, because that looked a horrible leg break as well for Musiala in the Club World Cup. Maybe there'd be room there for Jack to to go and reignite it, because I wouldn't be adverse to letting him go abroad to Bayern Munich because of, Vinny there and Harry Kane and what's the other one? Dyer. Dyer's also there, isn't he?
No, he's gone.
Has he? What, from Bayern? Has he?
Yeah. He was only there for the season, I think.
No, I'm sure he's still there, unless he's gone at the end of this season.
I think he did, but I could be wrong.
Well, it won't be the first time you're wrong, is it, love? So, yeah, yeah. I just hope it is all right. Simon Tracy was actually unlucky in that 5-0 deflection. Nick,
you're having a laugh.
I remember just Kanchelski's hat trick, wasn't it? It was like that match. We'll have to do a memorable match show, won't we?
Yes.
For either the good reasons or the bad reasons. Because we've had some shockers, haven't we? But we've also had some unbelievable matches. But yeah, Simon Tracy, I always have palpitations when that name is mentioned.
Tommy Wright.
Paddy is the yellow cartel. Good evening, Martin. Everyone's we're all well, mate. And John Burridge, I remember he made his debut for us against Newcastle. I don't know why I always remember that. I remember having a good chat with him, actually. He's an eccentric fella. I was on Chester Road petrol station. When he came in on loan for us, and I was in the petrol station about over half an hour just chatting to him about general football and that. I'm sure he goes to bed with his gloves on. You could go to bed with your gloves on, Pad.
Have you been talking to my doctor?
Anne-Marie made me say that. Blue Heart says Chelsea do seem to be the only club that can continue spending whatever they wish through loopholes they appear to have just make up. I don't know. The way I see it, if they've got money and it's their money, they should be able to spend it like any club should, even Newcastle. Newcastle, because Anne-Marie's a Newcastle fan. Look, she's in the Newcastle strip tonight. When I say strip, I don't mean lady.
Only fans.
Oh, for God's sake.
It is, honestly. Anybody who's just joined us now and they want to join Anne-Marie's OnlyFans account, then it can be...
I deserve better than this.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do.
You thought it was going to be crude when I said that earlier.
No, I didn't.
You'd have levered me, wouldn't you?
Too damn right I would.
Even my mouse is not working now. It's probably cheesed off. Yeah, got it working now. So yeah, Blue Heart says, hello, I'll do a brilliant beef biryani taste. Right, Anne-Marie, you can do the comments because my mouse is packed up.
There you go. Anne-Marie's correct. Dyer's away to Monaco.
Anne-Marie, do the first one she comes to is Anne-Marie correct.
Respect for her knowledge. Thank you, Bella.
Oh God!
What's this great surprise you've got for us, anyway, Andy?
It was your OnlyFans.
Oh, for God's sake!
What did you want it to be?
Well, I thought you had a decent surprise for us.
Well, hey, you wish.
She wants to put the link up.
Sentiment FC will win nothing. Absolutely right, top of the league, and that's why Pep has got a tough job to do at the start of next season.
Certainly does.
So, do you think it's a good or a bad thing that we went out? I did ask that question, but you both ignored me at the start of the show.
I don't know. Who said you think it's a good thing?
I think it's absolutely brilliant.
Because we've had a taster of things to come, haven't we?
And it's given us a bit longer of a break.
Yeah. Oh, hang on, my mouse has come back. Yeah, it was. That's referring back to the Bayern Munich one, or Auckland, wasn't it? what they beat 10-0. And it wasn't Bishop Auckland. Though they'd have probably done a better job. Oh dear. So what your, and I put it on the thumbnail, what are your hopes and expectations for next season?
For a better season than last season.
What?
For a better season than last season.
So if we finish second,
I'll be happy enough.
That's good, that, Anne-Marie. Don't believe you, but
no, I will be. Providing the Rags are still down in 15th to 16th place, I'll be delighted.
Haven't we moved on from that?
I think we have to, with that squad, we definitely have to be competing for the league. Have to be, the bare minimum.
I've already told you we'll win the league by at least 10 points.
That's called a fixed illusion.
It's called fact, mate. Right, I tell you what, if we don't, I'll do some sort of bet. A forfeit.
Do the podcast naked.
No!
Anyway, look.
Don't inflict that on us. No!
I'm like a newsreader, Paddy.
No, do a Gary Lineker. Do the show in your underpants.
With Tabby Bull.
Ew. No, so what's your expectations? Yours is anything above third?
Yeah, pretty much.
What's yours, young Patrick?
I told you we have to be competing.
I won't rule it out, Adam. I really think we're going to go for it. And sadly, I think who said that? I think it was.
Can I just say something around that? You need to be aware. A lot of them guys coming in that team are fairly new and won't be used to the grind of the Premier League. Never mind any other competition. It's a league that you don't get a minute on the ball. And it's going to take them a while. I don't care how talented they are. It's going to take a while to adapt. And this winning the league by 10 points and doing trebles, yeah, no, it's brilliant. Yeah, they're useful and they're full of energy.
Mm-hmm.
But the Premier League is a leveler. It's a leveler. You're not going to any team in the Premier League thinking we're going to come away here with 3 points unless you're going to the Rags.
But that's where we'll be able to that's where Pep will be able to manage it, because especially the midfield top end, we've got players who can play in various positions. So that's where the squad rotation will come in perfectly. I'm guessing this one's for you, Paddy. Martin says, genuine question, where has the Akanji going come from? And let me finish what he was saying. He's heard loads saying it.
I didn't say he was going.
No, you said something about sick note Akanji, Stones, and you mentioned
that was
I said about Akanji going.
That was in reference to you saying that if you signed a right back, that you would let Hussinoff go. And I says you'd let Hussinoff go over Stones, sick note, Akanji, sick note, and Akanji. I would keep Hussinoff over them 3 players all day, every day.
Yeah, but thankfully you're not the manager. Are you?
No.
The only thing you can manage about that team is putting batteries in your your remote.
Excuse me, I have my season ticket renewed.
Mm-hmm. Might need a buyer though. If he can't play for us, why would anyone else want to buy him if it's a sick note? And I've said this to you a few times as well. So
John Stones.
Yep, I agree with this, and I've said it a few times. If I was an opposition manager and I'd be looking at John Stones, there's no doubt within John Stones' talent is a top class footballer when he's fit and on the pitch. So if I had, not everybody's got our budget. So say if I was an Everton manager or teams of that ilk, and I've got a certain budget, would I be thinking I'm going to pay £30 million for John Stones, who's potentially
£30 million for John Stones, you bad man?
Hypothetically, right? Because clubs will have a certain budget. Would I want to blow some of my budget on a player what has got an injury-prone record? I wouldn't.
You'll get the same deal for John Stones as you would for Walker, about $5 million.
You'd be a good politician because you've just dodged what I've asked you.
Well, have you asked me?
Anne-Marie, just have a word.
Did you ask me if I was an opposition manager, would I buy John Stones? Absolutely not.
So how are you going to get rid of him then? You've just... Oh, Anne-Marie, he's doing my head in tonight.
He's doing your job. He's playing devil's advocate, Andy.
No, he's not. No, he's
as
not.
As you always say.
He's not. He's just not all there. I've already ruined him.
The same can be said of you sometimes.
I've already ruined you both with the Nico Gonzalez one tonight. Do you want me to do the same with the John Stones?
You haven't ruined us. You asked us to pick our best 11. You're missing the point.
Exactly. He's forgetting how he phrased the question, Paddy.
Yeah. Keys.
You mean I'm right?
Locks.
I've not had locks for a number of years, mate.
And if it was up to me, and I know he's your little pride and joy, but John Stones wouldn't be kicking another ball for Man City if it was up to me.
When you say my pride and joy, why is it my pride and joy?
Because you're always defending him.
Shame he can't defend us. No, but
you said it, Andy.
No, seriously, not my pride and joy, mate. What? My thoughts are, what use is it to us if he can't play a certain amount of games? But to counter that, what I'm saying is, well, who would take a punt on him?
You would for 5 or 10 million.
But then he's got his wages, hasn't he? It's not always about...
He can forget about... He's not going to get the wages he's getting in Man City, let's be real.
But... You're not seeing it, are you? I think you've been... Have you fallen off the wagon?
No. But,
no, I don't mean drink. I mean, you've been falling off a wagon.
Like, what is it you're not seeing?
Because if you was an opposition manager, you would not buy John Stones, would you? You've already said you wouldn't.
No, I wouldn't, no.
So how do we get rid of him then? Because you want him to go ahead of Kusanov.
You can go as a free, as a thank you very much.
We're not a charity.
Well, you're getting about 15 million a year off the books by letting him go on a free.
But hang on a minute. He's under contract. Is he going to go, oh, yeah, I'll go on a free? If he goes on a free, then he's not getting a wage, is he? So he sits on his contract, whatever he's on. Why should he go? Regardless of him being injured or not.
And you know how the world of football works as much as I do. If he has 18 months left in his contract, and we'll say that's worth, say, 50 million to him, the club will say, look, go on a free, and we'll give you 20 million out the door. And then he'd get a signing on fee with someone else, and then a half decent wage. That's the way it works.
You're not in the game tonight, Paddy.
Do you not think that's the way it works?
So, right. So, if I'm on, I'll use fictitious figures. If I'm on £20 million salary a year.
Andy, I get your point, but you're not listening to me for some reason. I get your point. Why would I walk away from 20 million a year for the next 3 years? Why would I walk away from that when I'm guaranteed it?
Mm-hmm.
But if the manager turn around and say to you, for the next 3 years, you're not going to kick a ball for Man City. You're not going to train with the first team. You're not going to be in around the first team. But we're going to let you go on a free, and we're going to give you 20, and we're going to give you 50% of what you're due if you stayed for your contract. Thank you very much. There's the door. Bye-bye.
But as a footballer who's injury prone, wouldn't you think, Nah, I'm staying put on my full salary because chances are I'm not going to get fixed up anywhere.
That doesn't happen anymore. That's you're sounding like me, like a dinosaur. We 40 years ago, we'll stick them in the reserves and all this kind of carry on. That doesn't happen anymore. Players want to play. Kyle Walker's a prime example of that. He's gone to Burnley.
Yeah, Anne-Marie, give us a scroll, please. My mouse is gone again.
Well, there was one little thing here that I just saw, and I'm just interested. Where did I see it? There, Adam. Can you please tell Martin? Can you please tell everybody the good news? Chris Wood will be a City player. I just want to confirm. Is that a joke, Adam?
Yes, it's
or
a
Martin?
joke. It's a joke. There's more chance of you playing for us up front.
I wouldn't want to see him in a City shirt.
Why?
You know, Chris Wood is like, he reminds me of Bonnie. He's had one good season and all of a sudden everybody wants him.
Remind you of you, Bonehead.
Bonnie from Swansea.
Bonehead, not Bonnie.
Yeah, Gordon says Andy's hairdryer has been out more than Stone's. Nice one, Gordon.
Must be for drying his pubes.
And by the way, Gordon's still got some stuff for us. I've just not had a chance to pick it up. Oh, well. And so what are you up to the rest of the week?
Does Gordon post the Ireland? He does. Does Gordon post the Ireland?
See, this has just caught my eye from DC. And I think this is... Go on, Anne-Marie, I'll let you read it.
I'd have more sympathy for Walker if he hadn't said he'd trade his Premier League trophy for Spurs' European one. Idiotic thing to say. That wasn't the only idiotic thing he said, DC. Let's just say goodbye and good luck to him.
Martin says that's 15 million plus on our PSR pad. It's not technically a free. And that's what you've got to consider, mate.
How is that 15 million on our PSR when you're taking 15 million off the books?
It's because we've lost 15 million.
But the thing is,
we've lost 15 million. How long is this since we bought John Stones?
See, a lot of just looking through the chat. There's a lot of John Stones stuff, you know. I think
I get it. He's a fan's favorite, but like, take the emotion out of it and take the feelings out of it. He has to go.
If you read the comments, you'll see it's not
all
all about
glasses.
Penfold.
Yeah, well, Nick says Stones is done with England now, I think. And I don't think he is, Nick. I think if England called him up for the next set of internationals, he'll be there. He'll probably come back to us injured, but he'll go.
This is the guy who went from our injured list to England a couple of weeks ago. For England.
Martin, I can't explain stupid to him, mate. Sorry, I can't. I'd be here all
night.
Well,
why don't you explain it, Martin? And stop being smart. Why don't you explain it?
And that's the answer to your question. He hates Chris Wood.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. It's a long joke.
Fair enough, Martin. That's okay.
Put Wood info, Kathy. Too much info. So Martin's going to
say something there, but I'm not going to.
You have to pay up the remaining contract paddy, and sometimes there is a cancellation fee as well. Cancelling a legal contract
by mutual consent. There's no fees attached.
But
parties.
But that has to be mutual. John Stones might say, "No, I'm not going. I'm on this amount of money."
Jesus Christ, it's like fucking fighting jabs tonight between you and that Martin fella. If Pep sat down with John Stones and says, "Look, John, thanks very much for your service. It hasn't worked out. We want you to go. we're going to cancel a contract. Would you like to do that? If you do, we'll give you 50%. We can't force you out the door, obviously, because there's a legal contract and there's a European Wartime Directive and Employment Law attached. We understand all of that. But if both parties were agreeable and amenable, and they came to a figure, let John Stones can go. How does that affect PR staying? It's mutual consent. Explain that to me, Martin. There's no cancellation when it's mutual consent.
Oh dear, I think it's time to move on.
Oh, and by the way, Paddy, Martin was on about Chris Wood, not John Stones. I seen that. I just thought I'd let you carry on, mate. Anyway,
it's all very complicated, though, isn't it? I mean, you've just got to look. You know, we've seen obviously the sad news this week with Jota, and if what I've heard is correct, we have to give big credit to Liverpool in that once they heard he'd died, they sacked him. And by sacking him and not just having his contract terminated, it meant his missus will get £18 million.
Yeah.
Whereas she wouldn't have got that if they'd have just terminated his contract. So I have to give full credit to Liverpool for doing that. And then the other news this week has obviously been Thomas Partey at Arsenal. Obviously, it's a legal situation, so you can't kind of discuss it. But it explains why Arsenal didn't offer him a new contract, because he's no longer an Arsenal player as of Monday. So it explains why he wasn't offered a new contract. They knew what was coming.
Right. So Martin's coming to explain to you now. Martin, there's the link. Come and explain to Paddy. Look at him, he's like Stan Laurel now, isn't he? Right, here we go. Before we go, we're finishing in 5 minutes and the clock starts now.
Oh, you put me on a clock?
Yeah.
Make sure you say clock.
All right. Yeah, no, the cancelling the contract's not as easy as just cancelling it, because John Stones, you are correct. If he mutually agrees it, Paddy, yeah. But John Stones is under no requirement to mutually agree it. And it goes on to the 25, 26. It's like people say, oh, but Jack Grealish just cancel his contract. That's 300 grand a week. So say he goes to a new club and they offer him 150 grand a week. Grealish legally can ask for the remaining 150 grand a week, loses offsetter. So City has. So you know when you remember Otamendi when he went to Benfica, and that took weeks and weeks to sort out. And he eventually got a payoff because Otamendi wouldn't give up any of his wages out the door. You remember, it's a job to them. They're not City fans. It's a job to them.
I understand that. There's nobody going to walk away from a contract without financial compensation. And getting rid of Jack Grealish is not going to be as easy as people think it's going to be, despite what Pep and Man City think. Jack Grealish is going to get well rewarded for having to walk away from that contract, believe you me.
Oh, yeah.
What I'm
and
saying
John Stones on a quarter of the bill.
Joking aside, Paddy, it'd been more chance of it happening if they want PSR and stuff like that, where you could give a player a golden handshake. But near enough every pound matters now in the running of a football club. It's not like you can write money off these days.
You're not writing money off, but what you're doing is balancing the books.
But the other thing as well, Paddy, is, and maybe I am being sentimental here, I think John Stones deserves the 10 years and the goodbye in the same way, because he was. I know you don't like that. I know you don't. That's just me. That's just me.
But can I ask you why, Martin?
Because he's been here 10 years, and I mean, for me, when he's fit, I agree, he's never fit. I still think he's our best centre back.
No,
when he's actually fully fit.
Going back to your earlier point about money, you're going to have somebody sitting on the sidelines on a physio bench collecting 250.
Yeah. That's just that's me being sentimental. That's me being sentimental.
That's you being mental, not sentimental.
That's just John Stones. I mean, I don't think John Stones will leave. And listen, I made the comment about Kushinoff. I think Kushinoff and Victor Hayes are going to be amazing players. The problem is, and we've only had a small sample. We've only had 5 or 6 games. And I don't want to lose a Kanji, Stones and all that out the door on Kushinoff only. If we're going to do that, I'd rather buy somebody else as well. Because Kushinoff could easily not have a great season next year as well.
I'm going to put the comment of the night up by top of the league.
I agree. I totally agree. But I think I do think there'll be 5 or 6 gone. I think McAtee will go. Gundogan will probably go. The thing sad with me is the way, and it's not to get anyone, the way some fans are carrying on with us getting rid of all these players. We're never going to have another statue ever at the football club because we're sort of kicking them out the door a bit.
It's not about statues.
I know. We didn't treat Zabaleta and Yaya and all that like that on the way out, did we? I just think.
But from when
Zabba, a bit more ruthless.
I think for me, Zabba wasn't a legend. He was a cult hero.
I mean, he's a legend to me. I love him. I love Zabba.
Yeah, I won't going to get one the way.
What did the club do when his legs went out the door?
Yeah. No, I understand that, but. I mean, we've always done it, haven't we? Especially that 10-year mark, we've always done. Like, Company got some at KDB,
I think
David Silva, Aguero.
With the greatest respect, I think them days are over. That's like coming out of school and being a company man for the next 40, 50 years. Them days are gone.
Yeah, no. I agree, Paddy. That's the bit that saddens me a little bit. I don't want to lose.
Let me ask you all a question before we wrap up. Anne-Marie, I'm going to go for you first here.
Okay.
I'm being really, really sincere in what I'm going to ask. It's just something what I thought about regarding Liverpool and Jota. Do you think it could actually affect Liverpool and the players next season?
Yes, I do.
I agree. I think on a personal level, because he seemed a really popular guy there, and it seems to have broke a lot of people. Do you, Paddy? I do.
No.
It won't. Martin?
No.
I think it could have the opposite effect. I think it could spur them on.
Can I ask you a question, Andy?
Mm-hmm.
The last funeral you were at, did you listen to what the people were saying?
Did I?
Yeah.
The last funeral I was at, mate, it was like a party. It was a good one.
Were they talking about the person in the box? Or were they talking about what they were doing next week, or where they were going on holidays, or what they were doing at the weekend?
No, listen, I'm not saying they will. I'm not saying they will. I am saying I think it could potentially. I'm totally with Anne-Marie on this one. I think you don't often see it in football, do you? So it could be what Martin said. It might have the adverse effect where it'll spur them on. But that comment, what I brought up, actually came from Mo Salah. Mo Salah's quoted as saying that it could really affect the players next season. So that's a bit of insight from somebody who plays in the same team as him and stuff like that. Only time will tell. I just thought I'd ask that question because it's something what I think it could potentially. Anyway, thanks for joining us, guys. So, as Martin give you a lesson in PSR now?
Oh, he did, yeah. Thank God. Sleep well tonight. Telling me what I already knew.
But you don't get it, Paddy.
You wound him up tight tonight, you. You proper wound him up tight. What have you done with him? He's on one.
If he was stood up now, he'd be like this. Maybe that cracks me up, that. Right, listen, thanks everyone in the chat for joining us as well. It's been a bit of a roller coaster night, hasn't it, with fun and games and stuff like that. So
Indeed.
yeah, just a reminder to everybody: if anybody wants to join Anne-Marie's OnlyFans account, then you can do here. On that note, we will bid you all a good day. Listen, whatever anybody's doing, have a great week. And
take care, everyone.
Some good news, by the way.
You won't be here next week.
I'll be in Benidorm. I might log in. And
you won't, because I won't let you on.
Yeah, I won't be here next week, so I will leave it in the hands of
When are you never in Benidorm?
I've not been since March.
Yeah, it's been probably a whole month, Martin.
Yeah.
Would it just be easy if you emigrated over there? We just went and just come.
You don't know how true that may be one day, sunshine. Listen, thanks all for everybody in the chat, because you are the most important people of the show, the guys in the chat, and we love it. Have a great week, everybody, whatever you do, and I will see you a week on Sunday.
And we'll see you next Sunday, won't we, Paddy?
In fact, Anne-Marie,
we have a bit of normality.
Exactly.
Anne-Marie, I'm calling at your house on Tuesday.
Why?
See you next Tuesday. See you later, all.